The year was 1939. The world stood on the precipice of monumental change, a change that would alter the course of history forever. The world watched with bated breath as tensions erupted in Europe. The air was thick with uncertainty and fear as nations braced themselves for the unknown. The Treaty of Versailles, signed after World War I, had left Germany feeling humiliated and vengeful. The harsh terms imposed on Germany sowed the seeds of resentment and anger. The global economy was in shambles, creating fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root. The Great Depression had left millions unemployed and desperate. Against this backdrop, a charismatic but ruthless leader emerged, Adolf Hitler. His fiery speeches and promises of a better future captivated the masses. Hitler's Nazi party, fueled by nationalistic fervor and a desire for expansion, began to flex its muscles. The party's propaganda machine worked tirelessly to spread its message. Germany, still reeling from the Great Depression, saw in Hitler a beacon of hope and a promise of restored glory. His vision of a powerful, united Germany resonated deeply. His message resonated with a population desperate for change, propelling him to power. The fervor and enthusiasm of the crowds were palpable. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, shattering the fragile peace that had held Europe together. The invasion was swift and brutal. This act of aggression triggered a chain reaction, as Britain and France, bound by treaties to defend Poland, declared war on Germany. The world was plunged into conflict once more. World War II had begun. The seeds of conflict had blossomed into a full-scale war, changing the lives of millions and shaping the future of the world. What began as a European conflict soon engulfed the globe, drawing in nations from every corner of the world into a massive and devastating war. On one side stood the Axis powers led by Germany, Italy, and Japan. These nations, driven by a desire for territorial expansion and dominance, sought to impose their will on the world. These nations, driven by expansionist ambitions and a desire to reshape the world order, formed an alliance of convenience. Their aggressive actions and invasions set the stage for a global confrontation. On the other side stood the Allies, initially comprising Britain, France, and the Commonwealth nations. These countries banded together to resist the Axis onslaught and defend their territories. As the war raged on, more countries joined the Allied cause, including the Soviet Union and, crucially, the United States. The entry of these powerful nations turned the tide of the war. The battle lines were drawn across continents, with fighting taking place in the air, at sea, and on land. The scale of the conflict was unprecedented, affecting millions of lives. From the beaches of Normandy to the jungles of Southeast Asia, the war touched every corner of the globe. No region was left untouched by the devastation and chaos. Millions of soldiers and civilians were caught in the crossfire, their lives forever changed by the conflict. The war left a lasting impact on the world, reshaping nations and societies. World War II was a clash of ideologies personified by the leaders who shaped the course of the conflict. Adolf Hitler, with his venomous rhetoric and unwavering belief in Aryan supremacy, became the embodiment of evil. His reign of terror plunged the world into darkness, leaving an indelible scar on humanity. On the Allied side, Winston Churchill emerged as a beacon of defiance. His unwavering resolve and stirring speeches rallied the British people during their darkest hour. Across the Atlantic, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, though initially hesitant to involve the United States in another European war, ultimately led his nation into the fray, providing crucial resources and manpower to the Allied cause. From the lightning-fast blitzkrieg across Europe, where German forces used speed and surprise to overwhelm their enemies, to the grueling island-hopping campaigns in the Pacific, where American forces fought fiercely to capture strategic islands from Japanese control, World War II was a relentless series of battles and campaigns. The Eastern Front, where German forces clashed with the Soviet Red Army in some of the largest and deadliest battles of the war, became a theatre of unimaginable brutality and loss of life, with millions of soldiers and civilians perishing in the conflict. The Battle of Stalingrad, a turning point in the war, saw the German advance halted and ultimately reversed in a grinding, street-by-street struggle that lasted for months. This brutal confrontation marked the beginning of the Soviet Union's push westward, eventually leading to the fall of Berlin. In the Pacific, the Japanese Empire, fueled by its own imperial ambitions and desire for regional dominance, launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, on December 7, 1941, aiming to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet. This act of aggression galvanized the American public, uniting the nation in a determined war effort. Propelling the United States into the war with a vengeance, the American war machine ramped up production and mobilized millions of troops. The Pacific theater was characterized by brutal island battles, where each island captured brought the Allies closer to Japan. Naval engagements and the horrors of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which ultimately forced Japan's surrender and brought an end to the war. Section 5. A legacy of loss, the human cost. World War II was a conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation. It is estimated that over 60 million people perished during the war, including soldiers and civilians. The Holocaust, a systematic campaign of genocide orchestrated by the Nazi regime, claimed the lives of 6 million Jews, along with millions of other innocent victims. The war left an enduring legacy of trauma and loss. Families were torn apart, cities lay in ruins, and the world grappled with the horrors that had been unleashed. The psychological scars of war lingered long after the guns fell silent, shaping the lives of generations to come. Section 6. Technological advancements from radar to the atomic bomb. World War II witnessed an unprecedented acceleration of technological development, driven by the urgent need for new and more effective weapons of war. Radar, developed in the years leading up to the conflict, played a crucial role in detecting enemy aircraft and ships, giving Allied forces a critical advantage in the Battle of Britain and other engagements. The most terrifying technological development of the war was undoubtedly the atomic bomb. Developed by the United States with assistance from Britain and Canada, the atomic bomb ushered in the nuclear age, forever altering the balance of power and raising profound ethical questions about the nature of warfare. Section 7. Unsung Heroes, Resistance and Resilience. While the battles raged on, acts of courage and defiance were taking place behind enemy lines. Resistance movements, made up of ordinary citizens who refused to bow to tyranny, played a vital role in undermining the Axis war effort. From sabotaging infrastructure to gathering intelligence, these brave individuals risked their lives to fight for freedom. One of the most remarkable stories of resistance is that of Witold Pilecki, a Polish officer who voluntarily entered Auschwitz, the Nazi concentration camp, to gather information about the atrocities being committed there. His reports, smuggled out of the camp, provided some of the earliest eyewitness accounts of the Holocaust, alerting the world to the horrors unfolding within. Section 8. The Aftermath, Shaping a New World. After 6 long years of bloodshed, World War II finally came to an end in 1945. Germany and Japan surrendered unconditionally, marking the victory of the Allied powers. The war had reshaped the geopolitical landscape, leaving the United States and the Soviet Union as the world's 2 superpowers. In the aftermath of the conflict, the international community came together to establish the United Nations, an organization dedicated to preventing future wars and promoting international cooperation. The war also had a profound impact on the global economy, leading to the establishment of the Bretton Woods system, which aimed to stabilize currencies and promote international trade. Section 9. Echoes of the Past. Lessons for the Future. World War II stands as a stark reminder of the human capacity for both good and evil. It teaches us the importance of vigilance, the value of international cooperation, and the need to confront intolerance and hatred in all its forms. The lessons learned from this devastating conflict continue to shape our world today, reminding us of the fragility of peace and the importance of striving for a more just and equitable world.